Ranger.
Hi-yo, Silver!
A fiery horse with the speed of light, a cloud of dust, and a hearty Hi-yo Silver. The Lone Ranger.
Hi-yo, Silver! Away!
With his faithful Indian companion Tonto, the daring and resourceful masked rider of the plains led the fight for law and order in the early West. Return with us now to those thrilling days of yesteryear. The Lone Ranger rides again.
In the year 1875, the criminal activities of a mysterious midnight rider in and near the town of Rock Point, New Mexico, began to infect the entire region with a sense of helpless panic. The Lone Ranger and Tonto had stopped to visit their old friend, Marshal Bill Collins.
So that's how it is, mister. Apparently half of New Mexico has been terrorized by this midnight rider.
Tell me, Marshal, how did you find out about the situation in Rock Point?
Well, about a week ago, I got a letter from Charlie McClellan. He's a sheriff down there. He sounded half out of his mind. He says the town's dying right in front of his eyes, and he can't do a thing about it.
It seems strange that one bandit able to do so much damage.
Of course, he could have a confederate among the townspeople. Someone to help and give him information.
Well, whatever the case may be, I feel mighty sorry for Charlie. He loves that part of the country and has a lot of faith in its future.
I have a great deal of faith in the future of the Southwest myself, Marshal. Sorry we have to make this trip so short, but Tonto and I must be on our way.
You're heading for New Mexico?
Yes, we'll leave this afternoon. We should be in Rock Point by the 17th.
Mister, I know McClellan will give you all the cooperation possible. As a matter of fact, I'll send him a wire.
Well, that shouldn't be necessary, but thanks. Adios.
Good luck.
Fullest cooperation. Regards, W.B. Collins, U.S. Marshal. Lone Ranger arriving.
Hey, Pete, you take over for me. Something I gotta do.
I'll tell you, Charlie, I won't have any depositors left if this town gets any smaller. Do you realize what this midnight rider has done to business around here?
Good afternoon, Mr. Niles, Sheriff.
Hi.
Nice fellow. Who?
Delroy? Oh, yeah.
Not the smartest man on earth, maybe, but a good citizen, nevertheless. This town needs more like him.
Sure does.
Delroy?
Yeah, let me in.
What do you know? Didn't expect to see you for another week.
Well, we're in trouble. Here, read that.
Well, it's been nice knowing you, partner. If you ever get to Mexico, look me up.
Oh, sit down, Buddy, sit down.
Look, Delroy, the hayride's over. We've done this midnight rider idea to death anyway. We've got about $100,000 buried outside, and I aim to live long enough to spend my half. I've heard plenty about the Lone Ranger. Personally, I think...
You think? With what?
Watch it, Delroy.
You know, Delroy, you baffle me. You look like a fretful little small-time telegraph operator. Maybe that's what you were once. What happened?
That's a good question. Maybe I just wanted to prove something to myself. And to everybody else. All my life, it's been good old John. No brains, but nice, fine fella. You think I'm a fine fella, Buddy?
I think you're a maniac. I've gone along with you this far. I might as well stick a while longer. All right. What do we do about the Lone Ranger?
Well, we kill him, obviously.
Now I know you're a maniac. From everything I've heard about this character...
Oh, forget what you heard about him. He's just a human being.
You know, as a matter of fact, he looks a little like you. With the same height and weight. You had the same kind of clothes he wears and a mask. Hey, wait a minute.
What's the matter?
Yeah. Why not? You know, Barty, you just said we've done this Midnight Rider business to death. You're right.
That's what I've been trying to tell you.
Suppose the Midnight Rider gives one final farewell performance before we clear out of town. Suppose you knock over the bank in broad daylight on the 17th of this month.
In broad daylight?
Yeah, we've always hit these people at night. They're conditioned to it. They'd never in the world expect a daylight attack.
Well, why the 17th?
Because that's the day the Lone Ranger gets here. And on that day, you'll be the Lone Ranger.
You mean you want me to dress up like he does, wear a mask like his, ride a white horse, and then rob the bank?
Exactly.
What's the advantage?
All right, Barty, I'll spell it out for you, nice and slow. Has anybody around here ever had a close look at the Midnight Rider?
No.
No. But on the 17th, they will get a close look at him, won't they? And what will they see?
Well, they'll see a masked man on a white horse. They'll think they see the Lone Ranger.
Right.
And we'll get out of town and leave the Lone Ranger to face the consequences.
No, Barty, we won't. We'll kill him first. We don't want him following us, do we? What we do want is for Sheriff McClellan to spend the rest of his life looking for a dead man.
Yeah, sure.
Luckily, we got plenty of time to prepare for it. Now, I know a place below the border where you can have a costume made. I'll tell you everything to ask for. You can also get a mask and a white horse.
Delroy, isn't there one little item you're forgetting?
Now, what's that?
The Lone Ranger himself. I have to find him to kill him. He never rides the main roads. He never comes straight into town. We can't read his mind.
You know, Barty, in a way, you just have read his mind. You know he's going to have to make camp somewhere on the outskirts of Rock Point.
Yeah, but where?
Well, Devil's Canyon, I'd figure.
It's just a guess.
Is it? You try and think for a minute. Now, you know this area. Where would you make camp if you were riding into town from the north?
Well, I'd want a place where I wouldn't be seen. A place with water enough for my horse. It'd have to be isolated.
Go on.
Yeah. There's only one place that fits. Devil's Canyon.
And early on the 17th, that's just where you'll be. Waiting on the rim.
Delroy, I have to hand it to you. At least you're a smart maniac.
It was past noon on the 17th when the Lone Ranger and Tonto drew rein on the outskirts of Rock Point.
Well, Tonto, I'd better leave you here. My mask would cause too many questions in town.
Me tell Sheriff McClellan you meet with him after dark.
Good. We'll camp in that canyon over there. It seems to be the only favorable campsite around here.
Me remember that good place to camp. Me meet you maybe 2 or 3 hours.
Good luck, Tonto.
Come on, Silver. You and me have a job to do in town.
You looking for something, Indian?
Me want talk to Sheriff McClellan.
Well, he's not here right now. Probably at one of the ranches near here. I'm his deputy. Anything I can do?
Better me talk to Sheriff. Me wait.
Sure. He'll be back soon.
Sheriff McClellan?
That's right, Indian. What can I do for you?
Me bring message from Frank. He say...
Get up, Silver!
Hey, what happened, Mr. Niles? I heard some shots.
The Midnight Rider. Sheriff, he got away with almost every big bill we had in the safe.
Round up a posse.
I made a mistake this time, Sheriff. We all got a close look at him.
I heard him call his horse Silver.
All right, I expect every able-bodied man in this town to be ready to leave in 5 minutes. Now, snap on it.
Kimasabi, me bring bad news from town. What's wrong?
Well, I'm all right now, Tonto.
Look like Bullet Gray's temple.
I was riding toward the canyon when I left you. It was a shot. I felt a terrific pain in my head.
You chase man who shoot you?
I don't know, Tonto.
You not know?
When I came to my senses, I was riding away from town in an area of shale and bedrock. The impact of the bullet must have caused a temporary loss of memory.
How long you gone from Canyon, Kimasabi?
I don't know. The sun was up when you left. Must have been at least 3 hours.
That's not good.
Why not?
When me go to Rock Point, sheriff not there. Me wait maybe 1 hour. Finally, sheriff come back. Before me have chance to speak with him, outlaw rob bank.
In broad daylight?
First time people get description of Midnight Rider. Him tall like you, wear mask and clothes like yours, ride white horse. Me go with posse, follow trail till we lose it. On bedrock outside town.
After I've rested, perhaps we... Tonto.
Midnight Rider impersonate you, Kimasabi. There much shale and bedrock in this area.
If I could only remember what I did for those 3 hours. I can't prove I'm innocent, Tonto. I can't prove I'm innocent, not even to myself.
Buenos dias, senor. You are awake. You sleep late, eh?
What's the matter, Tonto? Don't you recognize me?
Kimasabi, that good disguise.
I put it on last night while you were sleeping. Wearing my regular clothes underneath.
You feel better today?
Much better, Tonto. After breakfast, I want to pay a visit to the bank that was robbed yesterday. I want to talk with someone that got a close look at the man who impersonated me.
You think him same man who shoot you?
Yes, it seems likely, Tonto.
Plenty bad luck Midnight Rider happened to be in Canyon the same time you come through.
Maybe it wasn't a matter of luck. Remember that this canyon is the only isolated spot around here for a good campsite. Now, if the Midnight Rider knew we were coming to Rock Point...
But how him know that, Kimasabi?
Don't forget that Marshal Collins offered to send a wire to Sheriff McClellan.
Then you think Sheriff McClellan friend of Midnight Rider?
No, Tonto, I didn't say that. I'm sure there's a dozen different ways that wire might have fallen into the wrong hands.
There are many questions me like to ask Midnight Rider.
I have a few questions I want to ask him myself when I find him.
Yes, sir. I'll be with you in just a minute.
Take your time, partner.
Barney, what are you doing here in town?
Don't get hysterical, Delroy.
Come on, write something. You're supposed to be a customer.
Just wanted to find out what happened in town after the holdup yesterday. Did I look like the Lone Ranger?
Sure. Enough to fool everyone who saw you. Now, I take it you didn't have any trouble out at the canyon.
I rode in about 2:30 and I shot him through the head.
Did you bury him in the canyon?
I didn't bury him anywhere. He rolled clear to the bottom of the canyon after I shot him. I didn't have time.
You mean you're not even sure he's dead?
Of course he's dead.
Are you brainless idiot? Well, what are you waiting for? Go on, ride back there to the canyon now. If you find the masked man, bury him. Body. The masked man isn't there. And heaven help you.
Why we stop here, Kimasabi?
I don't want to be seen in town riding silver. We'll leave our horses here and go the rest of the way on foot.
Well, it's about time he got back. Go on, take over. I'm going home. I don't feel well.
1,000 pardons, senor. That was clumsy.
Come and look where you're going.
Si, senor.
Come in.
Buenos dias, senor. You are Senor Niles, the presidente of the bank?
Yes, sir, I am.
The man who gives out the money, he said you were in. Senor, I do not like to intrude, but I'd like to speak with you for a moment about the robbery yesterday.
Come in, please.
Si, senor.
Sit down.
Gracias. Senor, when I hear of this terrible thing, I say to myself, maybe this is the man who makes so much trouble for me.
You were robbed, too?
Si, senor. Something very precious. This outlaw, you get a good look at him?
Yes, I did.
You tell Pancho what he looked like?
Well, he was a tall man, dark-haired, wore a light Stetson and a mask. Rode a white horse called Silver. I guess everybody in town knows whose description that fits. The Lone Ranger.
Is it possible you make a mistake, senor?
I don't think so. I know it sounds incredible, but frankly, I was so stunned I didn't recognize him myself immediately. It was John Delroy who identified him first.
Who is this Delroy?
He's one of the telegraph operators here in town.
I see. The man who gets the wires the moment they come in, see?
Yes, that's right.
Bueno, I will remember. I'm sorry to take up so much of your time.
I only hope I've been able to help you.
You have indeed. Adios.
You hold it right there, mister.
Mr. Delroy, what is this?
I took the liberty of sending your cashier for the sheriff, Mr. Niles.
You've done what?
I have reason to believe this man may be the robber.
Are you sure?
We collided outside my office. Some of the brown makeup he's using on his face and hands rubbed off on me. When the sheriff arrives, I think we better have that makeup removed, Mr. Niles.
Well, this man is about the same height as the robber.
Nobody's attending your bank, sir. Hadn't you better get out there and wait for the sheriff? I'll keep our mysterious friend covered. All right, sit down. You know, mister, am I right in thinking you may be the Lone Ranger? Well, it doesn't make too much difference. I'll have to kill you anyway. If you are the Lone Ranger, all my troubles are over. If you're not, I'll just have to keep on looking. You'll be shot while trying to escape.
You're a clever man, Delroy. I should have suspected the telegraph operator. But you made two bad mistakes.
And what were they?
First was taking in a partner.
Partner?
That's right. You're not the Midnight Rider. You're too small to have impersonated me.
Well, that's a good point.
I've been thinking of a saying. There's no honor among thieves. You and your partner have stripped this town of a fortune. Are you sure that money's safe, Delroy?
You said there were two mistakes, mister. What's the second?
The second was even more stupid. You shouldn't turn your back to a rear door.
No, it won't do. Hey, oh!
Good work, Tonto.
Me see this fellow bump into you, then follow you into bank. Me go around back, listen that door. What we do now? Wait for sheriff, tell him what happened here?
I doubt whether the sheriff would take our word against Delroy's without proof. But unless I'm mistaken, we'll have that proof in a couple of hours. Well, I won't need this disguise anymore. I want you to go back where we left the horses. You can see the rear of the bank from there. Wait for my signal, and then bring Silver and Scout to the rear door.
What do you do, Kimasabi?
Well, I'll stay here. I want to see what Delroy does about the suspicions I've tried to plant in his mind. Hurry, Tonto.
Mr. Delroy.
Is he dead?
Delroy, what happened? Where is he?
Sheriff, I think maybe he's going back to his camp. It's in Devil's Canyon.
How do you know that?
Well, he happened to let the information drop while he was here.
I'll go with you. The horses are out front.
Coming, Delroy?
No, I got something to do.
All right, suit yourself.
Me bring cloth to remove makeup.
Good, Tonto. I think Delroy is about to lead us to where the stolen money is hidden. Watch from the alley and see which direction he takes. Well, Tonto?
Him take main road, Kimasabi. Head toward mountain.
As soon as I remove this makeup, we'll pick up his trail.
Me wait outside. Them leave main road here, Kimasabi.
I'll follow him from here alone. You'd better go for the sheriff. You'll find him in Devil's Canyon with his deputy and Mr. Niles. Tell him you know where the Lone Ranger is. I'll leave a clear trail for you to follow.
Me savvy.
It's Delroy.
So the masked man was right. How far do you think you get with that money, partner?
Are you crazy? I couldn't find the masked man's body, so I came back here to burn the costume.
Did you?
Look for yourself. The money hasn't been touched.
Delroy! All right, Barty, against the wall. Hands high. The sheriff will be here soon. We'll get you to a doctor.
God, what difference does it make? I'm through anyway. All I want is to live long enough to see that Barty gets what's coming to him. I have quite a story to tell the sheriff, mister. Quite a story.
Well, mister, I guess we all owe you an apology. Little did I think when the Indian brought me out, I'd come across a scene like this. How's Delroy?
I'm afraid he's dead, sir. Before he died, he signed a full confession naming himself and Barty as entirely responsible for the robberies.
We found nearly all of the stolen money buried outside, together with part of the costume that Barty used. I have admired you, sir, for many years. And I can't tell you how glad I am to find out that you're not the one who robbed my bank.
Mr. Niles, you'll never know how glad I am to find out for sure myself. Well, Tonto, it's time we were riding on. Adios, friends.
What do you suppose he meant by that?
Beats me.
Well, they say you never can figure out what he'll do next, so I guess maybe you can't figure out what he'll say next either. No, sir. There's just no telling about the Lone Ranger.
Hail Silver! The Lone Ranger. Hail Silver! A fiery horse with the speed of light, a cloud of dust, and a hearty Hi-Yo Silver. The Lone Ranger. Hi-Yo Silver! Away! With his faithful Indian companion Tonto, the daring and resourceful masked rider of the plains led the fight for law and order in the early West. Return with us now to those thrilling days of yesteryear. The Lone Ranger rides again.
The stage is on its way.
It's about time.
Yeah, the driver ought to be ashamed of himself. Making the great Luke Compton wait like this.
You know, Barney, one of these days I'm gonna get tired of you needling me. When that happens, I'm gonna forget you, my brother, and out.
Why don't you two save it till later? I thought we were out to pick up some easy money. Let's get to work.
More guns up there?
No.
Then throw down the strong box.
No passengers, Lou, but somebody left a newspaper behind. Got a picture of you in it, too.
No kidding.
Not a bad likeness of the great Lou Compton.
Lou Compton?
So you've heard of me?
Yes, sir.
Well, then maybe next time you won't try to outrun Lou Compton.
Mr. Compton, my guard's hurt bad. If you're through with us, I'd like...
Oh, sure, beat it. Oh, and don't forget to tell the good folks in Cottonwood City who held you up. Remember the name, Lou Compton.
Get up! Hey!
Hey, listen to this. The notorious Lou Compton, wanted by law officers from Kansas to California, has now compiled a worse record of murders than even Billy the Kid himself. How about that?
Not a bad haul. Let's get out of here.
Now, don't rush us. Maybe that story continues on page 2. And we wouldn't want our hero to miss it.
Go ahead, brother. Draw.
Come on, let's go.
How about that?
Shots we hear come from this direction, Kimasabi, but we not see it.
Tano, down on the road. Something shining in the sun.
Look like strongbox.
Come on, Silver. Tano, this lock has been smashed by a bullet.
Heavy wheel marks show stagecoach stop here. Also hoof prints of 3 horses. You think Compton gang do this?
Seems likely, Tano. From all reports, the Comptons have taken this territory over completely.
Tracks be hard to follow on hard ground beyond road. What we do?
I'll follow the tracks as far as I can. You continue on into Cottonwood City. See what you can learn from the sheriff and the stagecoach driver there. We'll meet at camp later.
Me savvy.
It's time we did something about this, men. And right now, I'm going to tell you...
It's all over, folks. It's all over. The guard's been taken to the hospital, and the driver here has given me all the facts. So there's nothing any of you can do about it.
Well, there's something I can do about it, Sheriff. I can just move my family out of this territory before we're all murdered in our beds.
Now, take it easy. Calm down, will you? I can assure you I'm doing everything in my power to capture the Comptons. But you all know as well as I do that their hideout is in the mountains, on the other side of the county line. I have no authority to go...
What do we care where their hideout is? They do all their thieving and their murdering right here. And I don't aim to risk my life and money any longer.
He's right, Sheriff. I've been driving stage in this part of the country for more than 5 years. Well, as of now, I'm quitting. And I'm not coming back until Lou Compton and his brothers are behind bars.
You're right.
Driver sure Lou Compton man who hold him up.
Yeah. Yeah, he was sure.
You not seem worried like other people here.
Probably because I don't have anything to lose.
You live in Cottonwood City?
No. No, I live in a little shack down at the end of Boot Hill Road. Why'd you ask?
Let me just wonder. That strange tattoo. Picture of gun with initials FD below.
I don't see anything strange about it.
Once long ago, me see tattoo like that. It mark a famous man.
Well, I'm not him, you understand? No matter who he was, I'm not him. I'm nobody. It's nobody.
Tano, I hope you had better luck than I did.
Maybe, Kimisami. You not able to follow tracks?
No, they disappeared into a stream about a mile away. What did you learn in town?
Stage driver say Lou Compton man who robbed him. People in Cottonwood City frightened of gang.
That's why Lou Compton and his brothers must be stopped. Tano, this area could be one of the richest in the West. But until this territory is made safe for settlers, it'll never develop the way it should.
People already talk of leaving.
Were you able to talk with the sheriff?
Me not try, Kimisami. Me speak to another man instead.
Another man?
A man maybe 50 years old. Face not shaved. Clothes old and torn. But him have tattoo on right arm. Picture of gun and initials FD below.
FD? Are you certain of that?
Many year ago, me see same tattoo, Kimisami. On arm of Marshal Frank Dean.
Yes, I remember you speaking of it. It sounds incredible, Tano. I understood that Frank Dean was killed 3 years ago. In Wyoming, wasn't it?
When him marshal in Carterville.
I wonder why one of the greatest peace officers in the West would allow everyone to think he was dead. Were you able to find out where he lives?
Him say him have little shack at end of Boot Hill Road.
Tano, if this man really is Frank Dean, he should be able to give us tremendous amount of help in tracking down the Comptons. Let's pay him a visit.
Who's there?
Friends?
What is this?
Don't be alarmed. We're not here to harm you.
Well, then why are you here? I haven't got any money. Go on, get out.
Looks like you're planning a trip, Mr. Dean.
Who are you?
The name is unimportant. Let's say I'm just someone who has always had the profoundest respect for peace officers like Frank Dean.
A masked man with an Indian companion named Tonto?
Me, Tonto.
But the person I had in mind is said to carry silver bullets.
Like this one, Mr. Dean?
Yeah. May I have this? Oh, thanks. I heard a great deal about you, too, and I'm mighty proud to know you.
The honor is ours, sir.
Honor? No. There's no honor in knowing me.
Perhaps that's for us to decide.
Please leave, will you? I've got a lot of packing to do.
Mr. Dean, nearly everyone believes that you were killed in Wyoming. Why did you drop from sight like that?
It isn't important. Believe me, you wouldn't be interested.
I think I would. Good lawmen are too valuable.
What's valuable about a coward? Can you answer me that?
Can you place a value on a marshal who's so frightened of a gun he doesn't even own one anymore?
How did it happen, sir?
I wonder if there's ever an answer to that question. I was in a gunfight with some cattle thieves. I got shot up pretty bad. I was in hospital about 3 months. After I was released, I found my nerve was gone. I was just scared all over.
Don't you know, sir, that you aren't the first man to come out of a gunfight with more scars than the ones the bullets made?
Oh, I know it in my mind, but not in my heart. Well, there's a story. You've heard it. I'd appreciate it if you'd leave now.
Mr. Dean, Tonto and I came here to ask for your cooperation in a very important matter. Before we leave, I'd like to tell you what brought us to this territory.
There's no need to explain. You're after the Comptons, aren't you?
That's right.
Well, I can't help you.
Does that mean you prefer to see the Comptons remain free?
No, of course not. That's the kind of man that's ruining the West. Well, there was a time when I'd have jumped at the chance to work with you, but not now.
Sheriffs say Comptons have hideout across county line. Why lawmen of that county not take action?
It's a new territory. There's very few ranchers living there. I doubt seriously if they've even thought of electing a sheriff. No, sir. If the Comptons are to be smoked out, it's got to be from this side. A lot of good men have tried it, and they've all failed.
But why?
Why? Simply because they were working in the dark.
What do you mean?
Well, if someone could just get past their lookout, and if everyone knew exactly where their guard posts were, then an attack would have every chance of being a success.
It sounds as though you've given the problem quite a lot of consideration, Mr. Dean.
Well, I've thought about it some in my spare time.
I must say I agree with your conclusions. As a matter of fact, I believe I'll do just exactly as you suggested.
But how? I told you their main trail was guarded. You'd never possibly get past them.
I might. If I were to join the gang.
It wouldn't work. Luke Compton would never accept a stranger into his outfit. Unless, of course, he knew he was an outlaw.
I think I know a way to delude Compton into thinking just that about both Tonto and me. But I'll need your help, sir.
No, I told you before, no.
I promise you'll be in no danger, sir.
Well, I suppose in that case...
What's your plan, Kimasabi?
Just this, Tonto. First, I'll need directions as to where the guarded trail starts. In an hour or two after Tonto and I have left, I want you to go to the sheriff.
Oh, Sheriff! Come here! Yeah, what is it? I was riding along and I saw two men camped about a mile from the bend in the river. One of them was wearing a mask. A mask? Yeah, and the other was an Indian. They were both armed. Outlaws, huh? You think they're part of the Compton gang? Your guess is as good as mine, Sheriff.
Kimasabi, Sheriff and Dean come now.
Looks as though Dean has done his job well.
Methinks Sheriff see us now.
Let's get started. We'll keep just out of range of the sheriff's bullets.
There they go, Sheriff. Heading toward the mountains, toward Compton's hideout. Let's go.
Dean's still with Sheriff.
I can't understand it. I told him he could turn back once the sheriff had seen us.
Maybe Sheriff asked him to come.
Well, the county line isn't far away. Both of them will stop there. Come on, Silver.
All right, Chick. I'll take over.
See what you make of this, Lou.
Well, the sheriff's after somebody, all right. A masked man and an Indian. Good-looking horses.
Blast them, they crossed the line. That river back there is as far as I should go. Won't be long before they'll be in the Compton hideout. I don't suppose there's one chance in a million that they'll be turned back. We better wait a minute and find out.
Howdy.
Hello, Compton.
Didn't I tell you, Chick? It's getting so everybody I come across recognizes me. I saw your little ruckus with a sheriff a while back. That nag he was riding didn't have a chance against those horses of yours.
These big fellas have saved us more than once.
What did the sheriff have in his mind?
I guess he figured he had a couple of outlaws trapped.
Must be frustrating for the old boy. What made you head up this way?
My friend and I have been wanting to meet up with you for a long time. We heard about you in Montana.
Yeah?
Yeah. We were on our way here when the sheriff spotted us.
Looking for a hideout?
Yeah. You might put it that way.
Well, I don't see any reason why we couldn't put you up for a couple of days. Unbuckle your gun belts.
You'll not trust us?
I didn't get where I am by trusting people, Injun. But don't worry about it. You'll get them back when you leave. The cabin's just up the trail away. You two go ahead. We'll follow.
That's no use. They aren't coming back. Well, we did what we could. Might as well forget it.
I wonder what's going on up there.
What difference does it make? Personally, I hope the Comptons mow them down. Save some work for the law.
Well, I'm with you, Sheriff, but it's all the same to you. I'd like to stick around a while.
Well, you're over 21. Do what you like. If you're thinking of going up there by yourself, I wouldn't advise it.
Wouldn't you?
Well, this is it.
Nice spot you got here, Compton.
Window and cabin face trail. Easy to shoot man who come from this direction.
That's right, Injun. So if you're running away from the law, you don't have a thing to worry about.
What about the back way?
Nothing but cliffs. Come on in. I'd like you to see the place. Well?
Yeah. Very impressive.
Not many people outside my brothers and me have ever seen the inside of this cabin.
There are 3, aren't there?
Yeah. Bonnie's probably down at the well. He'll be back in a minute. This is the bunk room. And here's the kitchen. There's enough grub in there to feed us for 6 months, if the good people in Cottonwood City should try a siege. And here's enough guns and ammunition to fight off an army.
And speaking of guns, take a look at this beauty.
Oh, that's mighty handsome. But if you really want to see a gun, that's Betsy. Before I get through with her, she's gonna be the most famous gun in the West.
How many notches, Lou?
23. But she's new yet.
Lou, don't you think I ought to get down to the lookout post?
In a minute, Chick. Hey, why don't you make us something to eat?
Right.
Maybe our friends would like to hear the story behind some of these 23 notches, huh?
Looking for somebody, mister?
No, I was...
Turn around and shut up. All right, get in the cabin.
Listen, mister,
I said to get inside.
I don't want to go on. I wasn't doing...
Come on, get moving.
Hey, what is this?
Look what I found outside. What are these 2 birds doing here?
Never mind them, they're friends of mine. Who is this character?
I don't know. I caught him snooping around out by the window.
I didn't mean any harm. I was just passing...
Who are you? Come on, who are you? What are you doing here?
Leave him alone, Compton. He isn't armed.
Look at him, he's shaking like a leaf.
The thing I can't figure out is how you ever got past Chick. What's going on in here? What are you doing here? You mean you haven't got a lookout up on the trail?
That's right, brother.
Why, you stupid fool.
Watch it, Barney. Next thing you know, you'll be forgetting who gives the orders around here.
And speaking of orders, Compton, hold it. Right there. I'm sorry I wrecked your plan, mister, but I see no reason why we can't take this crummy trio into custody ourselves.
You mean you 3 have been working together? Is that it?
That's right. And I feel like a human being for the first time in years. There'll be no more running away, mister. When I saw you and Tonto riding up here alone today, something happened to me. Now I know how a fire horse feels when he hears the bells and smells the smoke.
Tonto, you said.
That's right.
And you must be the Lone Ranger.
The Lone Ranger?
Well, what do you know about that?
Drop that gun, Compton. Drop it.
Oh, I'm sorry, friend. I forgot to tell you. It's empty.
Sorry, mister.
There's no reason to blame yourself, sir.
You want me to take care of these guys?
Now, you stay out of it, Chick. This is one job I gotta do.
This ain't no time for jokes, Lou.
Think what they'll call me from now on. Lou Compton, the man who killed the Lone Ranger.
Wonder what he looks like under that mask.
You can find out after he's dead. Now, come on, Lou, and get it over with.
You know, Compton, you aren't much of an outlaw.
Is that so?
He's just stalling for time, Lou. Go ahead and shoot him. Let's get out of here.
Shut up. Maybe you know somebody that's tougher than me, mister.
I've known 100 who are more observant.
Yeah?
It's obvious you'd heard of me before.
Maybe.
Perhaps you heard that I use silver bullets.
So?
Silver bullets, Compton. You see, if you had been more observant, you'd have been able to identify me the moment you took my gun belt.
Yeah, he's got a point there, Lou.
You were lucky this time, Lou. But I think your brothers ought to know that they have a fool for a leader.
All right, that's enough. We'll see which one of us has been a fool. Mister, in just 10 seconds, you're gonna be dead. And I'm gonna be the biggest man in the West. So start saying your prayers.
Great work, Dean.
I feel 25 years younger.
You keep them covered while Tonto and I tie them up. We'll take care of Lou's shoulder later.
Well, what's the next move, mister?
You think you can take those 3 into Cottonwood City alone?
I could take these 3 to China alone.
Then they're all yours.
But wait a minute. There's quite a sizable reward out for the Comptons.
You've earned it, sir.
But you and Tonto.
Money help you get started again.
That's mighty generous of you.
By the way, after you turn those 3 in, where do you intend to go?
Back to Wyoming. Back to my home.
Perhaps we'll see you there.
You aiming to head up that way, too?
Yes. It's time Tonto and I paid a visit to an old friend of ours, Judge Thomas, and asked him to have a badge ready.
Oh, I don't know how to thank you for that.
Good luck, Marshal.
Adios.
Adios.
Well, Chick, you had things pegged right all the time. We had a fool for a leader.
Lou Compton, the greatest man in the West. Except for one.
The Lone Ranger.
The Lone Ranger.
Hi-yo, Silver!
A fiery horse with the speed of light, a cloud of dust, and a hearty Hi-yo Silver. The Lone Ranger.
Hi-yo, Silver! Away!
With his faithful Indian companion Tonto, the daring and resourceful masked rider of the plains led the fight for law and order in the early West. Return with us now to those thrilling days of yesteryear. The Lone Ranger rides again.
You're getting careless, Kirk. I could have blowed your head off.
Not unless a dead man can pull a trigger, Ringo. Had you both sent it the minute you rode into camp.
Always one up on us, ain't he, Corey?
Yeah. That's why you boys are taking orders instead of giving them. Did you get the supplies?
Sure did, boss.
That's what we went for.
Something on your mind, Corey?
Your big talk, mostly.
Meaning what?
Meaning you was full of promise about easy dough. I ain't seen none of it yet.
Settle down, Corey. The boss knows what he's doing. I've been with him a long time. They don't come no smarter than him.
Yeah? Well, I'm getting saddle sore waiting for a payday. You ask me, I think something...
Now get up. If I paid you for thinking you'd starve to death. Now fix the fire and get some food.
Here's the paper we got in Goldtown, boss.
Oh, thanks, Ringo. You boys read the front page?
No, what does it say?
Well, listen to this. You may get that payday after all. A reward of $100 is being offered by Dan Sherwood, Goldtown lawyer, to anyone having information as to the whereabouts of Edgar Wellington, who was last seen in this area, one of the heirs to the Sam Bates estate. Bates, an aged prospector, died without realizing that a gold mine claim he owned was worth close to $100,000. Wellington is 5'11", wears glasses, speaks with an English accent, and is a cracked pistol shot with either hand.
Hey, that guy we met in Boulder Canyon, the one pan in gold, he had an English accent.
Well, that's right, Ringo. And he fits the rest of this description. I bet he's still in Boulder Canyon, not realizing he's heir to a fortune.
Only $100 reward for finding him. You call that big money?
Shut up and listen. He's talking about 100,000.
Not 100,000. 50,000. There's another heir mentioned here in this paper. We get half, he gets half.
Yeah, who is it?
Somebody they call the Lone Ranger.
The Lone Ranger? Kirk, you out of your mind? He's dynamite.
Dynamite's only dangerous in the hands of an incompetent. I wouldn't pass a setup like this if the King of England was the other heir. Good afternoon.
Hello there again. I thought you gentlemen were riding north. What is this? What do you want?
Just want to get to know you, Wellington. Real well. I want to learn all about your habits, where you were born, how you live. But most important, I want to hear you talk. Talk a lot. Take...
Glasses are broken. What are you going to do now, boss?
Get some more?
Where? They ain't easy to buy out west.
You ought to do more reading, Corey. Right there. Store in Goldtown.
You want the same ad this week, Mr. Boggs?
Oh, sure. Say, son, I trust I'll have my same spot on the front page there.
Afraid not, Mr. Boggs. That news of Sam Bates' inheritance is still selling lots of papers.
Oh, they haven't found that Englishman yet, huh?
Nope.
Well, all right, my boy. I bow to the rights of the press, son. Barnaby Boggs Emporium. Brother, that's good. Well, welcome, sir. Welcome to Barnaby Boggs Emporium. I noticed your advertisement for eyeglasses in the newspaper. Oh, yeah, sure. Right here, sir. Yes, sir. There you are. There's a pair. Say, you're English, ain't you? Yes, I'm here on business. You have a Mr. Sherwood in Goldtown, don't you? The lawyer? Oh, sure. Say, you're not the fellow they've been looking for, that Edward Wellington, are you? Edgar. Well, what do you know? Well, sir, it's certainly a pleasure to serve you, neighbor, at least, Sir Edgar. Yes, sir, a pleasure and an honor to have you visit my establishment here. It certainly is an honor, sir. I can't even see the chart with these. Haven't you something a little weaker? Oh, Barnaby Boggs has got all kinds, Sir Edgar. Yeah, try those. Say, you know, the masked man's going to be along pretty soon. He has a share in the money, too, you know. Yes. I'm anxious to meet the masked man.
Miss Abby, this rear door to Lawyer Sherwood's office?
Yes, Tonto. It's best we enter this way. You know my mask always starts questions.
What?
Don't be alarmed, Mr. Sherwood.
Who are you?
This might help to identify me.
Silver Bullet.
Oh, of course, the masked man and his Indian friend, but I've heard of a white horse, a magnificent stallion.
Up, boy. In addition, I have a letter from my friend, the governor.
Well, that's all the proof I need. Come on in. I've been expecting you. We can get started on this inheritance business right away. I'm selling the mine today, and we'll have the $100,000 this afternoon.
We didn't get a copy of the newspaper until 2 days ago. Sam Bates's death was quite a shock.
Him fine man.
Yes, we're going to miss old Sam here in Goldtown. He must have thought very highly of you.
I saved his life once when he fell ill on the trail. I never expected this kind of repayment or wanted it. Sam's friendship was enough for me.
You find other fellow yet?
You mean the Englishman? No, I haven't heard a word from him.
You know, it's too bad Sam died before realizing his wealth. He had a big dream about what he'd do with money if he ever got any.
You mean the mining college idea?
Yes.
What do you mean, Kimasabi?
Well, Sam Bates was different than most prospectors, Tonto. He hated the waste and destruction and went with the desire to take gold from the ground. He knew wealth was there in 100 other forms. Unfortunately, there were very few men who knew it. So he wanted to start a mining college to teach young men the true value of our natural resources.
That very fine plan would help territory very much.
Yes, it's too bad it'll never be carried out.
It still can be, Mr. Sherwood, with the money Sam Bates left.
You mean you'd give up your share of Sam's estate?
Yes, but I'm afraid it would take the other half, too.
Then it seems a great deal depends on Mr. Wellington, when and if he arrives.
I dare say, gentlemen. It looks as if I've arrived just in time.
Wellington?
That's correct, Edgar Wellington. I'm terribly sorry I couldn't get here sooner, but I've been prospecting in Boulder Canyon. News is rather scarce out there.
Yes, I would imagine. Oh, this is Tonto, and this is the man who's going to inherit the other half of Sam's estate.
Howdy.
How do you do? My old friend Sam spoke very highly of you, masked man. His death was a terrible thing. I only wish that there was some way that I could express my feelings.
There is, sir. We were just talking about it.
Oh?
He undoubtedly told you about the college.
I'm afraid I don't quite follow you.
Sam wanted to see a mining college built right here on the territory. One like they have in the East.
Oh, yes, I do believe he mentioned something or other about a college.
It can become a reality now with your cooperation.
And with my inheritance money, I presume.
Is that right?
Well, it's a noble thought, just like old Sam. But don't you think that we ought to get the money before we spend it?
Oh, yes, of course. I have the papers right here on my desk. If you gentlemen will sign them, it will ease the way for the monies to be paid. I have the masked man identification, and Sam left a letter that was sent to him and signed by you, so I can check your signature by this one. Now, if you'll be good enough to sign the copies.
Let me see. This is the one, isn't it? Well, if you don't mind, I'd like to look these over, Mr. Sherwood. The fine print, you know.
I can assure you, sir, they're in order.
Oh, please don't take offense. It's just that I don't like to sign anything without looking it over at first. I'll read this very carefully this evening and return it tomorrow morning.
Very well, if that's your wish, Mr. Wellington. You have accommodations here in town?
Oh, yes. Everything's arranged.
And you, sir?
Tonto will set up camp east of town. I'll join him after I visit a friend of mine living here.
Then we'll meet here tomorrow morning. Agreed?
Agreed.
Well, goodbye until tomorrow.
Bye. Bye, sir.
You visit Barnaby Boggs?
Yes. I'd like to see how he's getting along.
What's wrong, Kimasabi? You worried?
Not worried, Tonto. Just puzzled.
About man inside, Wellington?
Yes. Doesn't it seem strange to you that a man would want to look over papers that make him heir to $50,000?
Much sudden money make man do many strange things, Kimasabi.
You're probably right, Tonto.
Me make camp. Meet you later.
Howdy, Barnaby.
Well, bless me if it isn't my friend the masked man. How are you? You know, your visiting my humble emporium is truly an honor.
Thank you, Barnaby. Are you keeping out of trouble?
Trouble? Oh, my friend, since you showed me the ways of justice and honesty, trouble is a word completely foreign to my vocabulary. Oh, it's true at one time that I was a purveyor of snake oil medicines, and I have separated a few local yokels from their money playing the shell game. But now, my friend, I stand before you a model of justice, honesty, truth, and how is our noble friend Tonto?
Oh, he's setting up camp. I just dropped by to say hello.
Oh, you're leaving so soon?
No, I'll be here for a day or so. Some business matters to settle.
Yes, and I'm well aware of those business matters. Your newly acquired wealth, my friend, is not a secret to the people of Gold Town.
Tell me, Barnaby, is this another one of your questionable business ventures?
Oh, don't look through those, my friend. You'll put your eyes out. Neighbor, this is a legitimate business venture. I have studied the charts and the pamphlets from the optical company, and spurred on by a desire to help my fellow man, I have finally mastered the mysterious art of fitting eyeglasses.
Barnaby, you sound convincing, but I'll withhold my judgment because I've seen your operations in the past. They weren't so good. Has the venture been successful?
Well, now, to tell you the truth, a little slow at first. But I'll tell you something else, my friend, that since the English air has been a customer of my emporium, people are going to start flocking to this place.
Edgar Wellington bought glasses here?
Yes, yes. A very difficult man to fit, too.
And why do you say difficult?
Well, you know, I read in the newspaper that he used a very strong pair of glasses. And when he come in here and told me that his old glass had been broken, I fitted him with the strongest pair in the place. The man couldn't even see through them.
Is that so?
Yes. Then I fitted him with a weaker pair, and still weaker. And finally, he bought the weakest pair in stock. You know, between you and I think he wears them, just figures he looks distinguished. You know, some gents are like that, you know.
Yes, I know what you mean.
Holy cow!
Oh, well, now, don't worry, Tommy. This man's a friend of mine. He's not a hold-up man.
What about the mask?
It's a symbol of justice, Tommy.
Gee, for a minute I thought it was my chance to get a big story.
Oh, so you're a newspaper man.
Oh, yes, he's a fine boy. A little bit over-anxious to become a newspaper reporter, but he's still a fine boy.
Sorry I can't give you a story, Tommy. But if you keep your ears open, you might run into a big one before you know it. Bye, Tommy. Adios, Barnaby.
My best regards to Tonto.
Golly, Mr. Boggs, who is that man?
That's the finest man you'll ever meet. Yes, sir, the very finest.
You mean you want us to ambush the masked man, huh?
You heard me.
I thought you said you put your act over, that he wasn't suspicious.
That's right, I did, but he's smarter than I figured on. I want him out of the way just so that nothing comes between me and that inheritance.
That's a big order, boss.
One that shouldn't be too tough for you boys. He sent his Indian friend to set up camp. The masked man will be riding the East Road out of town, alone.
We'll be riding.
Don't miss. If everything goes well, we'll be on our way tomorrow with $50,000.
What about him?
We got all the necessary papers right here. We haven't got a problem.
You'll have one. Getting me to sign.
That won't be difficult. I assure you.
Masked man's too good with that gun. Try and circle him.
Me hear shots, Kimasabi. Ride fast from camp.
2 men ambushed me, Tonto. One of them got away. This one wasn't as fortunate.
Why them try to kill you?
I think our friend Edgar Wellington is behind it.
Wellington want you dead?
I'm not sure the man we met in town really is Wellington.
Him had credentials.
Tonto, we could have stolen them. Barnaby Boggs said he bought weak glasses. He's supposed to need strong ones.
That's not much proof, Kimasabi.
I know, Tonto. Right now, we better take this fellow into town and report this to the coroner. Then tomorrow in the lawyer's office, if I'm right about the man who calls himself Wellington, there's one thing that should prove it.
Good morning, gentlemen. I hope I haven't kept you waiting. But I had a little accident.
Say, that looks bad.
Yes. The hammer slipped this morning while I was working on the trigger spring. I should have known better than to work on a loaded gun.
An embarrassing mistake for an expert marksman to make.
Yes, of course.
Well, I trust you're ready to sign the papers now.
Oh, but I have signed them, Mr. Sherwood. Lucky thing. Did it just before I hurt my hand.
But I wanted you to sign them in front of witnesses. Then everything would have been finished. I have the $100,000 in the satchel.
Oh, I'm terribly sorry, but of course you understand.
This looks like a bona fide signature.
The signature may be, but that's no proof that this man is Wellington.
Now, look here. Who are you to be doubting me? How do I know you're who you claim to be?
He has shown me a silver bullet, Mr. Wellington, and a personal letter from the governor. That's all the proof I need.
Well, what more could I do? I'll sign with my left hand if that will help.
It should be easy to prove your identity, Wellington. Use your gun.
My gun?
If you're Edgar Wellington, you're an expert shot with either hand. Tonto, the window, please. See that weather vane across the street?
That's an impossible target.
Is it? Let's find out. Your turn, Mr. Wellington.
Why don't you fire, Mr. Wellington?
Well,
What's all the shooting?
all of you stand still. The boy gets hurt.
Tonto, we can't take the chance.
You're using good sense, masked man. Keep on using it by dropping your guns. You too, Indian.
Why, the accent's gone. You are an imposter.
You discovered that a little late, Mr. Sherwood. I'm leaving town now with the entire $100,000 instead of just my inherited half. It'll be the first time in history that a man ever carried a mining college out of town in a satchel. Now get into the closet, all of you. Go on. Go on.
You all right, Tommy?
Sure, I'm sorry about what happened. I just
That's all right, son. The important thing is getting that money back and finding the real Edgar Wellington if he's still alive.
What's wrong, boss? Hit the saddle, Ringo. The masquerade's over. We've got the entire $100,000.
See if Wellington's inside, Tonto. I'll try to capture the other two. They may be wanted for past crimes as well as this one. Good boy, Silver. I'll take over from here. All right, mister, let's go. There's a cell waiting for you and your partners.
I say, Mr. Boggs, I do wish you'd let me pay you for these new glasses.
Why, no, certainly not. My goodness, if you and my masked friend can donate a fortune to build the Sam Bates Mining College, the least I can do is to donate a pair of eyeglasses.
Thanks again for your decision, Mr. Wellington. Education is going to play a vital part in the growing of the West.
You're both doing a very fine thing.
Nevertheless, I must admit that my motives weren't entirely philanthropic.
Well, what do you mean?
My mining prospecting luck was so bad that I intend to be the first student in the new college.
Well, goodbye, my friends.
Goodbye.
Goodbye. So long, Tommy.
Goodbye. My boss said he'd let me do a story with my own byline. And gosh, just to think, that story's gonna be about the Lone Ranger.
The Lone Ranger.
Hi-yo, Silver!
A fiery horse with the speed of light, a cloud of dust, and a hearty Hi-yo, Silver. The Lone Ranger.
Hi-yo, Silver! Away!
With his faithful Indian companion Tonto, the daring and resourceful masked rider of the plains led the fight for law and order in the early West. Return with us now to those thrilling days of yesteryear. The Lone Ranger rides again.
Uncle Ed, how did you escape?
I escaped all right. You don't worry about that.
But how? Weren't the Indians closing in on you?
Yes, they were. But, like I said, the night was pitch dark. Without the flaming arrows, you couldn't see your hand afore your face. Well, sir, just as them redskins was about to make their final charge, a thunderstorm come up. Put out the flaming arrows, and under cover of darkness, I picked up the wounded lieutenant, and...
Uncle Ed. How many times have I told you not to whittle in my living room? Just look at this floor.
Oh, I'm sorry, Laura. I just kind of forgot.
Uncle Ed was telling me how he saved the fort from an Indian attack.
I can imagine. But that's no excuse for you letting him make a mess like this.
Now, just a minute, Laura. I don't need no 10-year-old child to nursemaid me.
What am I going to do with you? You drag dirt all over the house. You whittle on the floor. You spill crumbs and tobacco. And last week you burned a hole in my best blanket.
Well, if I'm not wanted here, I'll just pack up and move out.
For heaven's sakes, don't be so touchy.
I'm not touchy. I just don't like to be treated like a useless old man. And I'm not accustomed to sitting around doing nothing. They didn't want me, why they asked me to come and live with them. I'll fix them. I'll stay up here in these mountains until they get good and worried. Susan's the only one that gives two hoots, what?
What do you think, Tonto?
Them try to cover tracks, Kimasabi, but me think them come this way.
I think you're right. Too bad the ground's so hard that we can't...
Don't move, either of you. Drop your guns.
You make mistake, old
I
man.
said drop your guns.
If you think we're outlaws...
Why, of course you're outlaws. I'm taking you to the sheriff.
I wear a mask because I don't wish to be recognized.
I'll bet you don't. There's probably a price on your head. Go on, get moving.
What about our horses?
Sheriff Gray can come get them after you're locked up.
Maybe Silver not want to be left behind.
I suspect you're right. Come on, boy.
You dirty owl hoot.
Sorry, but you brought this on yourself. We're not bandits. As a matter of fact, we're after 3 outlaws who escaped from the territorial prison.
You mean Lefty Mott and his men?
That's right.
Glory be. You think they're around here someplace?
I'm quite sure they are. Now, if you promise to behave yourself, I'll return your rifle.
You sure, mister?
Here you are, old-timer.
I'm no old-timer. I'm just as good as I was 20 years ago.
Well, I'm sure you are. I meant no offense.
You see strangers ride this way?
No, nobody comes up in these mountains since the mines played out.
As you probably know, Lefty is a killer. The two men with him, Jake Logan and Mike Carney, are almost as bad. If you notice anything suspicious around here, tell the sheriff right away.
Oh, I'll do that.
Thanks. I hope we meet again under more pleasant circumstances.
All right.
Adios.
So long. Gee, Jehoshaphat. Wait till I tell him about this.
But, Dad...
Susan, I've explained a dozen times Uncle Ed's too old to herd cattle. He's just too stubborn to admit it.
Here he comes.
Now, don't scold him for being late.
Well, if he wants to eat cold food, that's his privilege.
Folks, have I got news? You know them 3 convicts that escaped from prison? Well, sir, they're hiding around here someplace.
Oh, no.
Are you sure?
Absolutely.
We should have left our money in the bank. What if those thugs break in and...
Nonsense, Laurel. Who told you these men are in the neighborhood?
A masked man riding on a big white horse. He come up to me while I was...
A masked man?
Yeah, and there was an engine with him.
Oh, Uncle Ed.
You ought to be ashamed of yourself.
What for?
For telling a cock and bull story like that.
But it's true.
A man just has so much patience. Now, don't make me lose what little I have left.
I saw that masked man and the engine as plain as the nose in your face. I talked to him.
All right, have it your way. Now, sit down and eat your supper.
You still don't believe me?
No, I don't. And while we're on the subject, Laura tells me you've been frightening Susan again with a lot of those nonsensical tales about killings and scalpings and such.
What's wrong with learning a child something about the history of this country?
I wouldn't call those tall tales of yours history.
No, I suppose you wouldn't. You sit there all safe and snug, and you forget if men like me hadn't fought and struggled and died, this place would still be a wilderness. I'm not asking for much, but at least you could show us some respect.
I had no idea that he'd take it so hard.
No, you'd better stay here.
Uncle Ed,
Yes, child.
I just want to tell you I love you.
Oh, bless you, sweetheart.
And your stories don't frighten me one bit.
They just don't understand, do they?
That's because they're grown-ups. There's lots of things that grown-ups don't understand.
Oh, you sweetheart.
It's no use, Tonto. It'll be dark in another 5 minutes.
Me not like to give up.
Neither do I. Lefty and his men have done a good job of covering up their trail.
When them go down into valley where ground's soft, it not be so easy to hide trail.
I suspect they'll stay wherever they are long enough to rest themselves and their horses. They've been riding hard for a week.
Them need rest before them cross Badlands to Mexican border.
Yes, and they'll also need to take along food and water.
Them not have money to buy food. Them have to steal.
Exactly. We'd better ride into Brockton and ask Sheriff Gray to warn the ranchers in the vicinity that Lefty may attempt a raid. Let's go.
It's almost too quiet around here. Let's go. Wait a second. Oh, those confounded birds are sticking in my leg. Well, don't take all night. All right, Lefty. Here. Come on in. If there's a dog, he's deaf as a post.
Next time I'll leave you at the hideout. I can't see anything with this blasted eye. Can we risk a light? I guess we'll have to.
Up. Go on, put him up. Kind of caught you red-handed, didn't I?
Give us a break, mister. We just want something to eat.
You're lying. You come here for the money.
We were only looking for food.
I still think you're lying. You come here for my nephew's money. I don't know how you found out about it, but I...
Say, what's going on here? Who are you?
Don't move, either of you.
Uncle Ed!
Shut up. Stay where you are. You've got a nerve breaking in here and threatening
I
us with-
said shut up.
Are you hurt, Uncle Ed?
You clumsy oaf. What'd you come busting in for?
You can settle that later. Right now, I want the money.
What money?
The old man said you had a lot of money around the house.
Well, he doesn't know what he's talking about. He's old and he's kind of feeble-minded.
Feeble-minded? Why, you young...
Uncle Ed.
What? Oh, yes, mister. Here lately, I do get things kind of mixed up.
Not this time, Grandpa. Where is it?
Honestly, I don't know what you're talking about.
Come off of it, Buster. Or do you want your wife to be a widow?
Well, you wouldn't.
What have I got to lose?
No.
Well?
It's in a box in the bottom drawer of that chest.
Thanks. Take a look, Jake.
Please, mister. This is my fault. I should have kept my mouth shut. Shoot me, do anything to me, but don't take their money. It's all they've got. For 5 years, they've been working...
You know, you're breaking my heart.
Frank, Laura,
Here it is, boss. Chuck full of green. Good. Get in there. Hurry up! Hurry up! Let's get out of here.
They've gone. I hope you're satisfied.
I'm sorry, Frank. Honest,
You're not going after them alone.
One hero in the family's enough. I'm getting the sheriff.
I'll go with you, Frank.
You're staying here. You've caused enough trouble already. Honey, you better check on Susan.
Look, mister, I appreciate you coming here to warn me about these crooks, but I had an official report that 3 of them were seen at Rose Creek yesterday, heading west.
Sheriff, I hadn't been near Rose Creek. Whoever turned in that report was mistaken.
I've heard a lot about you, mister. And this letter you showed me from the governor says you're on the side of the law. But I can't throw the whole countryside into a panic just on your say-so.
When people are in danger, they should be told about it.
The more people know about crooks, the better chance to catch them.
All right. I'll go see Walker Stevenson and ask him to.
Sheriff, I've been robbed.
What?
2 men just broke into my place and... Who's that?
Don't worry, he's no outlaw.
But he's masked.
I know, go on.
Well, these 2 men broke in and threatened to kill me unless I told where we kept our savings. They took every cent we own, almost $1,000.
Do you recognize any of these 3 men?
Why, sure, that's one of them. This man looks like the other one.
Lefty Mott and Jake Logan.
Huh?
Guess I owe you an apology. I'll round up a posse. They're probably heading for the border.
Did these men take any food with them?
They loaded some in a sack, but evidently in their excitement over the money, they forgot about it.
They couldn't reach the border without food. What about Carney? They'd hardly leave without him.
You think Carney go to a hideout and then go back to get him?
That's a reasonable guess, Tonto.
But let's get going.
This moonlight won't last much longer. There's a storm coming up.
While you organize a posse, Tonto and I'll go on ahead. We may be able to pick up their trail before the storm breaks.
Good enough. Come on.
Did you find them?
The rainstorm wiped out the trail. Our money's gone, Laura. We might as well face it.
Well, we're still strong and healthy.
Honey, Any other woman would have bawled me out for not keeping our money in the bank.
We'll all feel much better after we've had some breakfast. Susan, will you go and fetch Uncle Ed?
Sure, Mom.
At least the old man was right about one thing.
What was that?
It was Lefty Mott who robbed us. And Ed did see a masked man.
You're joking.
No, I saw him myself. He was in this shed.
Mommy, Uncle Ed's gone.
Gone?
I found this on his bed.
Frank and Laura, I know you're never going to forgive me for what I done last night, so I'm going after them robbers myself. When I get your money, I'll send it to you, because I'm not coming back where I'm not wanted. Tell Susan I'll write her as soon as I get a job. I'm not as old and useless as some people think.
He's not coming back.
Oh, yes, he is, Susan. He's just angry and upset because...
You were mean to him. You scolded him all the time, and you wouldn't believe his stories.
Now, as soon as I've had some sleep, I'll go and look for him.
Even if you find him, he won't come back. You were mean to him.
Oh, Susan, please don't cry.
Mommy, I love Wendell. It's so mad.
I'll try and find him.
That old man we see yesterday.
I wonder what he's doing way up here.
Oh, so it's you again.
Yes, we meet again.
If you're still after them bandit fellows, you're just wasting your time.
We found their trail last night before it rained. I'm sure they're hiding up here in these hills.
Sure they are. And they got the money they stole from my nephew.
So you're Frank Adams' uncle?
Yeah, I'm not proud of it. I'll get his money back all right, but you won't catch me going back to live with him and be insulted and laughed at and treated like some no-account old fool.
Well, if you feel that way about it, why are you so anxious to get his money back for him?
Because it was my fault it got stolen. Besides, I'm the only one that know where it is.
You know where money is?
Of course I do. But I'm not telling anybody.
I see. I don't mean to interfere, sir, but don't you think it would be a good idea to forget this quarrel with Frank and go home?
You don't believe me.
I didn't say that, but I'm sure Frank will be worried about you. And, well, at your age...
My age has nothing to do with it. Them bandits had burrs all over their trouser legs. And those kind of burrs only grow in one place.
If that's true, why didn't you tell the sheriff about it?
Because I didn't remember about the burrs till later, that's why.
You show us where burrs grow?
Oh, no, you don't. I'm going to capture those bandits myself. I'm going to prove to people that I'm not as useless as they think I am.
As much as I admire your courage, I think we'd better take you home.
What are you talking about?
If you do know where Lefty and his men are hiding, and you go there alone, you'll only be killed.
Oh, I can take care of myself.
It's too great a risk.
Are you serious? I mean about taking me back to town?
It's for your own good, sir.
Wait a minute. Suppose I let you go along with me. What about that?
I'm sorry, but these men are dangerous. Tano and I are used to dealing with killers, but...
But I'd just be in the way, is that it?
No, but you might get hurt. If you think you can tell us where these killers are hiding, and we succeed in capturing them, I'll make sure you get the reward and full credit.
A lot of good that'd do.
I'm sorry, but it's the best I can offer.
All right. The burrs I told you about grow near a shack at the Silver X mine. Now you follow this trail and turn left when you get to a big rock that's shaped like a man's head.
Thank you, sir. We'll see you later.
All right.
Why don't Jake hurry up with those berries he's supposed to be picking?
Thought you were sick of berries.
Well, they're better than nothing. If I'd been with you last night, I'd have brought back some food.
There wasn't any point in all three of us going. And quit your griping. $1,000 will buy a lot more than food.
How long are we going to stay cooped up here, starving to death?
Couple of days. Things quiet down. Cover me from the window. what happened? He was at the window.
You dirty, thieving cutthroats.
It's the old man. Did you have to plug him? Someone might have heard the shot. He was gonna plug you. Let's get him inside. Oh, take it easy.
Who's he?
He's the old coot that tried to give us trouble last night.
Well, how do you know where to come?
That's what we're gonna find out. Go out and watch the trail. If anybody heard that shot, they might get nosy.
Right. Leave them here.
Get him down. Get him down.
No way out of canyon. Maybe we take wrong turn.
No, Tonto. I suspect we've been tricked.
What do you think?
I think the old man led us on a wild goose chase. Come on.
For the last time, you old fool. How did you know we were here?
If you had any sense, you could figure it for yourself.
Did you tell anyone where you were coming?
Maybe I did, and maybe I didn't.
What's wrong, boy?
Silver smelled trouble. Maybe somebody wait around Bending Trail.
We'll leave Silver and Scout here and circle around on foot.
Me take rope.
Listen, you. If you don't tell me all I want to know, I'll break every bone in your body.
I don't care if you kill me. I haven't got much to live for anyway.
I'll give you just 3 seconds to start talking.
They've caught the old man, all right. We'll use the tap on the window trick.
1, 2, 3.
What's that?
Go look.
Stay where you are. You're covered. Now drop your gun.
Stay back or I'll shoot the old man. Stay where you are, Injun. Drop your guns or I'll let him have it.
Let him shoot me. I ain't worth anything, and the money's here, and you can take it back to Frank.
Does it mean that much to you?
Drop your guns. I'm warning you.
They're gonna kill us all anyway.
That's right, Grandpa.
You'll hang for it, Lefty?
He'll have to catch me first. Wait,
Keep them covered, Tonto. You hurt badly?
Oh, you shouldn't have taken such a chance. You should have let him shot me.
Well, I don't agree with you.
If I hadn't lied to you and been such a stubborn old fool, none of this had happened.
Forget it, Ed. Right now, I want to tie up these men and have Tonto look at that shoulder.
All right.
Well, Mr. Andrews, now that Lefty and his men are back in prison and Frank's money's been returned, Tonto and I must be on our way.
You sure have been wonderful.
What about reward, Kimisari?
There's $1,000 reward for recapturing those crooks. Tonto and I convinced the sheriff that you should receive it all.
Oh, I don't deserve any of it.
You pioneers who made this country possible deserve more than that.
Well, thank you, sir. Thank you. And I won't forget what you said about not being so cantankerous and touchy about things. From now on, I'm just going to relax and enjoy being my age.
And we're going to see that you do enjoy it.
That doesn't mean that you can loaf. I'll need a lot of help running this place, and I'm counting on you.
Bye, Susan. You take good care of your uncle.
I shall.
Adios, my friends.
Goodbye. Well?
Uncle Ed, if you're going to be different from now on, does that mean you can't tell me any more stories?
Oh, bless you, child. Of course not. In fact, I'm going to tell you a story right now. A story about the kindest, bravest, most wonderful man that ever lived.
Is that how you saved the fort from an Indian attack?
Oh, shucks, child, this story isn't about me. This is a story about the Lone Ranger.
The Lone Ranger.
Hi-yo, Silver!
A fiery horse with the speed of light, a cloud of dust, and a hearty Hi-yo Silver. The Lone Ranger.
Hi-yo, Silver! Away!
With his faithful Indian companion Tonto, the daring and resourceful masked rider of the plains led the fight for law and order in the early West. Return with us now to those thrilling days of yesteryear. The Lone Ranger rides again.
Like shots come from over ridge.
That many can only mean one thing, Tonto. Trouble.
Rein in. Whoa! You, throw your gun away and come down here.
You wouldn't be doing this if I still had my gun.
Oh, you got her scared. Real scared. Keep your eye on her.
Right.
Now, you pull down that strong box and be quick about it.
You no good.
Hey, what are you so upset about? It's not your gold. Come on. Open the box. I'll keep them covered. Here, put the gold in here. Come on, hurry it up. We've got company. Hurry it up. We've got to get out of here.
I'm hurrying.
See what you can do here. You all right, miss?
I think so, but who are you? The mask?
This mask doesn't mean I'm an outlaw. Oh, you're hurt.
It's nothing. Oh, Judd, they shot him. And the sheriff, he was riding shotgun.
The sheriff is dead. My Indian friend is back with your driver.
May we go back to him?
Of course.
good. That helps. That's good. I'm sure glad to see you're safe, Miss Terry.
Are you all right, Judd?
It's nothing, just a scratch.
Him plenty lucky. Bullet only cut scalp.
I guess this robbery just about put your father out of business. Them low-down murdering skunks.
Look like you hurt.
It should be looked after.
Thank you.
This sure beats everything. A masked man and an Indian helping us instead of trying to rob us.
How does this robbery affect your father?
My father, Tom Harding, owns a gold mine, the Carolyn. And most every time we have a gold shipment to make, the stage is attacked and robbed.
Well, isn't your father insured against these losses?
He was, but there've been so many holdups, no one will assume the risk now.
Has anyone else been affected by these robberies?
Yes, Mr. Fulton. He owns a mine right next to my father's. He's lost so much, he's closed his mine, and now he's trying to sell it.
I see.
Mr. Fulton says a man is crazy to try and run a business in a territory where outlaws are able to rob and kill as they please.
Has your father ever thought of selling out the mine?
Dad's a rather stubborn person. He says he's not going to be run out of business by a bunch of hold-up men.
I admire his determination. There, now that should be all right.
Thank you.
I guess we'd better be getting back, Miss Terry.
Tonto, I think you'd better drive the stage into town.
You trying to follow a trail of hold-up men?
Yes. I'll meet you later at Indian Rock.
Me no place.
Thank you for saving my life.
How did it go?
We got the gold, if that's what you mean.
Anyone see you come here?
Now, why do you think we came in the back way? You said you didn't want anybody in town to see us.
Where's Pete?
Oh, dead.
Well, you had trouble then.
So he's dead. The important thing is we've got the gold. Look, you tell us what stages you want held up, we do it. Gunman for hire, that's us. For a price, of course.
Tell him about the masked man and the Indian.
A masked man and an Indian?
Yeah, a masked man on a white horse and an Indian. They came along while we were holding up the stage.
Was that Indian riding a paint?
Yep.
Did you cover your trail good before you came here?
Like, of course. What are you so touchy about?
Do you happen to know who that masked man and Indian are?
No.
Well, I think I do. Is that the Indian?
Yeah, that's him.
You two stay here.
I'm all right. I only got a scratch on my head. I didn't lose my whole scalp.
What happened?
The stage was held up and the sheriff killed. That's what happened.
Oh, it's terrible. I know what a blow the loss of this shipment will be to your father, Miss Harding.
There's a chance of it being recovered, Mr. Fulton. A friend of this Indian is trying to follow the trail of the hold-up men.
Well, do you know the man who's going to do this for you?
Well, no, but he did save my life.
I see. What's your name, Indian?
Me, Tonto.
Well, I'd like to meet your friend, Tonto.
Tonto is to meet him at Indian Rock.
Well, since the sheriff is dead and his deputy is out of town, I'll ride to Indian Rock with Tonto. If his friend has found the hold-up man, he may need help.
I'll come along, too.
Oh, but your father, Miss Harding.
Telling him the gold has been stolen won't do any good.
Yes, that's true. Well, I'll get my gun and we'll get started immediately. Excuse me. Well, I was right. I know who that masked man and Indian are.
So?
So, you won't be so smug when you find out you've been tangling with the Lone Ranger. That Indian is his sidekick, Tonto.
That's not so good.
Now, we'll have to get rid of him. Bart, he's going to be at Indian Rock in a little while.
Get rid of the Lone Ranger will be a real pleasure.
Yeah. You better go to the hideout afterwards. If anything comes up, I'll see you out there.
They used the river to cover their trail.
Lone Ranger.
Want me to ride down and make sure he's dead, Bart?
I don't miss. Come on, let's get out of here.
You all right, Kimasabi?
Yes, Tonto. Thanks to Silver.
What happened?
Someone must have seen my mask and mistaken me for an outlaw.
Well, I'm glad whoever fired it you missed. I'm Fred Fulton, a mine owner like Miss Harding's father.
Howdy, Mr. Fulton. This is my Indian friend, Tonto.
How do you do?
Miss Harding said you have also lost heavily from the stage holdups.
Yeah, so much so I've had to close down my mine, and now I'm trying to sell out.
Were you able to follow the holdup men?
Oh, they used the riverbed to cover their trail.
Oh, I was so hoping.
Oh, do you intend to continue the search?
Mr. Fulton, at the present time, there seems very little I can do.
Oh, that's too bad.
Well, thank you again for what you tried to do. Guess there's nothing for me to do now but break the bad news to Dad.
Yes, it seems so.
Well, goodbye. Goodbye, Tonto.
Goodbye, miss.
Kimasabi, you make it sound like we're not going to follow hold-up men.
Tonto, at the present time, that's the impression I wish to leave.
Oh, then outlaws not go into hiding.
That's right.
You see a man who shoot at you?
No, but the shot came from up among those rocks. I think we'd better check up there. Let's get mounted.
Kimasabi, me see tracks of 2 horses. It look like 2 men wait here for you.
Tonto, how many people knew you were going to meet me at Indian Rock?
A lady on stage and a stage driver, they know. And then lady tell man who ride out here with us.
Fulton.
You think it not accident that men here?
No, Tonto, I don't. Unless they knew I was coming here, why would they have waited?
Ah, we follow their trail?
And it'll be dark soon. Down this hard ground, following their trail would be next to impossible.
Ah, that's right, Kimasabi. What we do?
I'd like to have a talk with Miss Harding and her father. She said they lived in Red Rim Canyon. I'll meet you back at camp later.
I can't believe Fred Fulton is involved in these stage holdups.
Well, I could be wrong, Mr. Harding, but certain facts indicate that he is.
What makes you say that?
Well, only 3 people knew I was going to Indian Rock. Your daughter, the stage driver, and Mr. Fulton. Yet 2 men were waiting there to ambush me.
Why don't you suspect Judd, then? Or my daughter?
Today's holdup itself eliminates them.
How?
Your daughter could have been killed by a stray bullet, and Judd was lucky enough to escape with only a scalp wound.
I think I understand, Dad. If either of us were involved, we wouldn't have risked our own lives.
That's right, Miss Harding. Fulton, however, wasn't endangered by the holdup. And he knew where I'd be.
About Fulton's losses?
Well, if he's behind these holdups, the stolen gold would come right back to him. And he'd be throwing suspicion from himself.
Why should he want to rob me until I was forced out of business?
Tell me, Mr. Harding, has Fulton ever tried to buy your mind?
No. Always talked to me about selling out to the Eastern Mining Company that's interested in buying his mine. As a matter of fact, earlier tonight he told me the representative of the company will be here tomorrow, and that I should stop by and see him.
Then you are thinking of selling?
Well, the way things are going now, I won't be able to meet the notes at the bank, and if they foreclose on me, I lose everything.
Mr. Harding, would you be willing to help me with a plan that might catch the outlaws and perhaps recover your stolen gold?
Of course.
Good. Now, here's what I'd like you to do. Tomorrow morning, I'd like you and your daughter to go into town.
You know, Fulton, this suit of yours fits me real nice. Felt like a real businessman when I rode into town today with it on.
Can't you pull yourself away from that mirror?
Take it easy, Fulton. I know what I'm supposed to do.
You didn't do so well getting rid of the Lone Ranger.
Can I help it if the horse moved?
Ah. Wait a minute. Here come the Hardings. Now, good morning, Miss Harding.
Good morning.
Isn't your father coming in?
No, he went on to the express office.
Oh, I wanted him to meet Mr. Reagan, the representative of the Eastern Mining Syndicate we talked about last night.
Mr. Fulton was telling me your father might be interested in selling his mine. My company might be interested in buying.
I'm
sorry, Mr. Reagan, but my father has asked me to tell you he's given up the idea of selling the Carolyn for the present.
But last night, Miss Harding...
After you left, he decided we'd try to keep going a little longer.
I see. And you found a way to meet the note that the bank holds?
If today's shipment gets through to the bank in Gallup, we can make the payment in time.
Today's shipment?
We're sending out every ounce of gold we had at the mine on the noon stage.
Yes, well, I certainly hope that shipment goes through, Miss Harding.
Thank you. Well, I must be getting back to Dad now. Glad to have met you, Mr. Reagan.
Glad to met you.
Goodbye.
All right, Miss Harding.
Looks like your little scheme isn't working out exactly as you'd planned it, huh?
Don't worry. That gold hasn't reached the bank yet. Stage doesn't leave for another 45 minutes yet. Bart, get Hank and be waiting for the stage when it gets near the river crossing.
You're sure determined, aren't you?
Why shouldn't I be? Owning that mine will put me on Easy Street for the rest of my life. After you get the gold, take it to my house. I'll stay here in town until after the robbery's been reported.
You'll have an alibi. Well, we're taking all
You're
the...
getting well paid.
That's right. See you later.
Yes.
Kimasabi, me see man leave Fulton's office. Him ride out of town.
Good. It looks like they've taken the bait.
Hey, where are you? I didn't expect to see you back so soon.
Hardings are sending another gold shipment to the railhead. We're to see that it doesn't get there.
I better get out of these things. I don't want to be recognized.
You better wait here with Silver.
Where do we take the gold after we get it? To Fulton's house, at his mine. He'll meet us there later.
Fulton is behind the holdups.
Here she comes.
Shot, Kimasabi.
Come on.
All right, rein in. Whoa! Now throw down that strong box.
Yeah, sure. Anything you say.
Get the gold.
Bart, the masked man, the Indian.
Forget the gold.
your gun. We're going back.
So you caught the murdering coyote. Now I know why Mr. Harding said I was to stop, not put up any fight if the stage is attacked. I'll sure enjoy seeing these two skunks behind bars.
And don't forget, we still have their boss to get.
Their boss?
That's right, Judd. And I'll need your help to get concrete evidence against him.
Just say what you want me to do, mister. Hey! Hey! The stage has been held up. The stage has been held up. Another robbery. The stage has been held up again.
Fulton coming, Kimasame.
We got here just in time.
Hank? Bart, where are you? Hank, where?
Don't reach for your gun, Fulton.
Oh, what are you doing here?
Tonto, take his gun.
Oh, what's this all about?
We captured your two gunmen, Bart and Hank. And now we're taking you in as the man behind the stage robberies.
Oh, I don't know what you're talking about.
Tonto, gather up the gold pouches.
Why, I'm a respectable businessman.
Fulton, you don't think your two gunmen are willing to take all the blame, do you?
Drop your gun, Masked Man, or I'll blow daylight through your Indian friend here.
Me sorry, Kimasame.
All right, the other one. So you know I was behind the stage robberies, eh? Well, I was trying for a fortune and didn't quite make it. But you haven't got me.
You're wrong, Fulton. Mr. Harding, have you heard enough?
Oh, you're not catching me with that old trick.
Better drop that gun,
Harding.
Gun not loaded.
But it's not loaded.
You don't think Tonto would be careless enough to let you get your hands on a loaded gun?
Even after his confession and his hired gunman in jail, I still can't believe that Fred Fulton tried to rob me.
You see, Mr. Harding, when Fulton realized that the new gold vein he discovered only started in his mine and ended up in yours, well, it was just too much for him.
The return of all the stolen gold still can't make up for the loss of a friend.
A price can never be placed on friendship.
I don't know how we can ever repay you and Tonto.
We've found two new friends. That's ample repayment. Well, I must be going now. Tonto is waiting outside. Goodbye, Miss Terry. Adios, Mr. Harding.
Bye, and thanks. We owe the Masked Man and his friend Tonto a great deal, Terry.
He's a wonderful man. So handsome, too. But who is he?
He's a great American. He's the Lone Ranger.
Be with the Lone Ranger and Tonto same time next week for new dangers in another thrill-packed adventure when the Lone Ranger rides again. The Lone Ranger.